Yes. XPS 15 versus MacBook Pro. Woo! Righto, tally-ho. Now, let's talk about the MacBook Pro 15-inch. I'm going to be talking about the MacBook Pro 13-inch quickly. I'm also going to be comparing the MacBook Pro 15-inch to the XPS 159570 and the AERO 15X. So if you want to upgrade from Windows Home to Windows Pro, or just get insanely cheap Windows and Office 2016 keys, head on down to 0 and 9, links are in the description, and I even have a discount code for you, and they also have cheap gaming keys too. So obviously once I get the Mac in-house to test out, I will give you a full comparison video, but a lot of people are asking me, should I get this, should I get that? This will help you make a more informed decision whether it's worth considering. And I'll show you this graphic on the screen now, and you'll see in the blue is the components that have been refreshed. So if you're new around here, please subscribe, and my subscribers will know that I will pound this MacBook Pro and you'll know everything about it, like how long it bursts for, the heat, how it performs video editing, everything. And I'll be comparing it, of course, to the XPS 15, AERO 15 and the ZenBook Pro when that comes out. I don't think the Razer's in this category, or the MSIs. I just don't think they're content creative devices first. They're more gaming. Anyway, let's crack on, and I'll talk about the 13-inch first. Okay, so with the 13-inch MacBook Pro, they haven't updated the non-touch. So the one with the function keys, they haven't updated that, which is really a crying shame because I really loved that. That was my favorite Mac, the one with no touch bar, because I have no use for the touch bar. So what you get new with the new touch bar is obviously you get the 28-watt quad-core parts now. You still only have dual-core in the non-touch bar version. You only get True Tone on the new MacBook Pro 13-inch. You also get the new Iris graphics because it is the 28-watt part. You get the Iris 655 and 128 megabytes of ED RAM. So you get like double the amount of RAM for the Iris graphics. That's one of the benefits of the 28-watt. I don't know why they went 28-watt. The 15 watts, you can push them up to 45 watts. I've seen it been done, as long as you keep that heat under control. So anyway, they went with that Bluetooth 5 and it's touch bar only as well, and also a bigger battery, so 58 watt hour battery. Other than that, it's pretty much exactly the same as the last model. The big game changer there, of course, is the quad core CPU, so that's great. So let's talk about the 15-inch and just run through everything. New keyboard, bigger battery, 83.6 watt hours now, DDR4 up to 32 gigabytes. It's only 2,400. I don't know why it's only 2,400. Pretty much 2,666 megahertz is the standard now. Maybe for power savings, it may be just Apple get it cheaper. I have no idea. It really isn't going to make a difference. I just thought I'd point that out. Now, I'll get to graphics later. You also have Bluetooth 5 and up to 4 terabyte of SSD storage there. That's just crazy. I don't know why you'd want so much just on your system drive, like on your primary drive where your operating system is. Unless you're like a music producer, like when you got a lot of loops and VSTs and stuff. But as a video editor, you don't want your content on the whatever. So let's talk about the graphics, of course. So one thing's for sure, the MacBook Pro is pretty much caught up to all these PCs, except in a few key areas, and I'll mention those in a minute. So you can get up to i9, fantastic. So CPU-wise, it's as good as all the PCs. 32 gig, as good as all the PCs. But one area where it really lacks behind is the graphics. Now it's AMD Radeon Pro 4GB 560X. So it is actually a new graphics card. But not really, because the only difference between the 560 and the 560X is the 560X has a higher base frequency, but its boost frequency is lower than the 560. That's the only difference. Other than that, it's exactly the same. And this is where the XPS 15 and the AERO 15 are much better, just in that graphics department. Now, of course, they use NVIDIA graphics with the XPS 15 and AERO 15, and I thought it was actually common knowledge about why Apple uses AMD graphics, but apparently not, and I'll tell you why. So it's all to do with control. Apple want to control the drivers for the graphics card. NVIDIA do not let any partners touch the BIOS or touch the graphics drivers. And Apple want to control that. Apple want to control the drivers. So it's basically just two RAMs butting heads against each other, and none of them are going to budge because, let's face it, Nvidia are the big dog in graphics, even though I like AMD. I love what they're doing, but they've got the most powerful graphics cards at the moment. You can't deny that. And it would be nice if one of them conceded, but the thing is, Nvidia really can't, because if Nvidia let Apple mess with the drivers, then all the PC manufacturers will want to mess with the drivers, and all the other OEMs and third-party graphics card makers will want to mess with the drivers too, and then it will become probably hell, because you can imagine what's going to happen if Nvidia lost control of the drivers there. So if you didn't know that, that is why they do not use Nvidia on MacBook Pro. So that's one area where they're a bit behind. If you're using Final Cut, it's not going to matter that much. For Premiere Pro, I think this new MacBook Pro will be very competitive with Premiere Pro. And that's where it really suffered. But I mean, if you're going to be using DaVinci and stuff like that, as people have told me, the AERO 15X with 8GB of RAM, GTX 1070 Max Q. That's going to be much better for DaVinci and stuff like that. The XPS 15, GTX 1050 Ti, very powerful as well. And I'm not really talking about gaming, because Macs aren't for gaming, and these are content creation devices. Another area I thought Apple would upgrade was the displays. Now they are bright and they're definitely good displays, but I thought the last XPS 15 had a better display than the MacBook Pro. So the new displays that the Aero has and the XPS 15 are even better than that. So, but you know, we're talking 9 out of 10 versus 10 out of 10. I mean, you still get a great display with the Mac there. So I'll just point out all those differences, and I just want to talk about common questions, the price. Everybody's going on about the price. Okay, I agree 100%. The price is just ridiculous. I just priced up the Aero 15, XPS 15 and MacBook Pro 15-inch with 16 gigs, 512GB SSD, and the i7-8750H. The Aero cost $2,499, the XPS 15 $1,999, and the MacBook Pro was $2,799. Now with the Aero, if you don't get the 4K display, it's like $2,200, but that's a big difference, right? And at some points, I think the people at Apple, they got a chromosome missing or something. Like, they're just making laptops for rich people. And that just makes me sad that, you know, someone that wants to start on YouTube or just be a creative artist is, if they want a Mac, they're basically going to have to buy a 13-inch and suffer the pain of using a 13-inch with no graphics card, because they can't afford the 15-inch, or they'll go PC. But if they don't want to buy a PC, I just don't think that's good for Apple at the end of the day. So anyway, I will be comparing these laptops very soon. Make sure you subscribe to see that. I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Tally ho.